Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
NFL cities develop intimate, passionate relationships with their starting quarterbacks. They are among the most visible, highest paid employees in the state. They live in a fishbowl of pressures and expectations. They can be our best friends, and they can be our worst nightmares. So, who will Josh Dobbs be? A revelation, a surprise breakout star of the season, a threat to Kyler's kingdom, or a wild swing and a miss from a team that is starting him against all odds without a single preseason snap? I've said it before and it bears repeating. This is going to be the weirdest, wildest first impression we've seen from this football team in a long time. It also marks the beginning of a quarterback carousel that needs to be settled by the start of next season. So is Dobbs really good enough to win this job long term? Will Clayton Tune emerge as the new face of the franchise? Will Kyler Murray return in time to make his own declaration? The best case scenario, folks, is that anyone emerges as the franchise quarterback who is already on the roster, because the last thing the Cardinals need as we embark on a new era is a college player from Southern California embarrassing us all by refusing to play football in Arizona.
Yeah, it'll be a great story, great documentary to share one day. But that's the NFL. But I think when you come in as a young guy in the league, obviously, like, you go to college. I guess it's a little different now with transfer portal. But college back when I went to school, it's crazy to say. You go to school for 4 years, 5 years, you go to the next level. And the NFL, man, like, every year is a year of its own, is a lifetime of its own. Every team is a life of its own. Obviously, there's crazy things that can happen in the NFL. And so, as a player in it, man, you just got to be ready when your opportunity comes every single time. You have to prepare and trust in your process. If you do that and control what you can control, you'll be happy and satisfied with what you're doing.
That is Joshua Dobbs, presumed starting quarterback for Sunday. It's still not official yet. Jonathan Gannon's still not letting that cat out of the bag. Mm-hmm. Look, I told you guys were going to get it, and you got it.
What'd you get?
The Bickley Blast.
Oh, the fire.
Right,
oh, good.
Right
good,
in the
good,
face.
Good.
You got the Bickley Blast.
Good. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? So Josh Dobbs, for those who don't remember, he originally committed to Arizona State. I know you remember that.
Yeah.
Think of how different it would be had he stayed, had he not decommitted and enrolled at Tennessee. I don't know. Anyways, continue with what you're going to say.
No, I think you perfectly summed up the quarterback situation, because we're 3 days away from an actual football game involving the Arizona Cardinals that counts in the standings. But I think most people right now, and maybe there's good reason for it, are focused on what happens next year. Mm-hmm. And that's glazing over this Kyler Murray thing. Kyler Murray, Jonathan Gannon was on Burns and Gambo for a weekly visit earlier this week, and they asked him point blank, do you expect Kyler Murray to play this year? And he didn't elaborate much, and he said, yes, I do. We don't know when that's going to happen. No. I've got my thoughts on it.
Oh, I want to hear them. When are your thoughts on it?
I think it's going to be a very, very gradual way back. We know it's 4 games at least. I could, and this is just going on gut and feeling. I don't have any inside information. Nobody does really on this. Week 10 against Atlanta, which might coincide with the most winnable 3-game stretch the Cardinals have on their schedule. That's when they have Atlanta, Houston, and the Rams in back-to-back weeks.
Okay.
But I think they're going to be careful. I think their level of care and caution with Kyler Murray will grow as the beginning of the regular season unfolds, because I don't think they're going to win many games. So then logic starts to take
control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why rush this guy back? We want to get a good, healthy dose of what he can do.
Yeah.
7 games, ideally, that's a pretty good sample on what he can do. And it also, we haven't talked a ton about this. So much has been made about Kyler Murray and how he's attacking this rehab, and he's getting kudos from everybody with his work ethic and his leadership through all of this. And, DJ Humphries gushing over him. Yeah. That's got a lot of attention.
Yeah.
But when you're working that hard just to get physically able to play football again, we're discounting the fact that this is an all-new offense that's completely different and completely foreign to Kyler Murray. So there's a learning curve there, too. You can only do so much in the course of a day.
Well, yes, and I think what you said really rings true on a couple of different levels. Number one, Kyler Murray, it has to be said that Jonathan Gannon could not speak in any more glowing terms about Kyler Murray. But keep in mind, all they're judging, all they've been able to judge from Kyler Murray is how he's rehabbing and where he's rehabbing. And this is something, as we said from day one, that Kyler Murray is built to knock out of the park. He's a gym rat, loves to lift weights. So this is right in his wheelhouse, if you will. So this is a perfect arena for Kyler Murray to impress a new coaching staff. The eyes are going to become much more critical and pointed when he's actually on the football field.
Absolutely.
Right. And so your prediction makes sense. I don't know if I believe this. I predicted even later. I predicted after the bye week in December with, I think 4 games left on the schedule.
Could very well be then.
And it's possible, as I think you and I have both been told by a source, that the early plan is there will be no scripted running plays in this year's version of Kyler Murray, which makes sense as well. You're going to want to just kind of limit his exposure. So this is it's all up in the air, and you really don't know what Josh Dobbs is going to do. And again, this is not Pollyanna. This is the NFL. For whatever reason, Brock Purdy works really, really well with Kyle Shanahan. I'm not sure if you picked up Brock Purdy and gave him to Matt LaFleur, you'd get the same thing. Maybe you would. I don't know that. I don't know if you gave him to Mike Vrabel, you'd get the same.
No, fit means a lot. I totally agree with that.
Fit means a lot.
Yeah.
And if Geno Smith can find the right opportunity, why can't Josh Dobbs? Now, for those who don't know, Josh Dobbs is one of the best quarterbacks in Tennessee history. Won a few bowl games, set a bunch of records. He was really good in college. He's very smart. He had a 4.0 GPA in college. So dude does check a lot of boxes. And so I'm not closing the door that this kid is going to really surprise us. I'm not closing the door on the fact that I don't even think the Cardinals are going to finish last place in their own division. I think that's going to be the Rams. I do.
Teaser coming up for our NFC preview later in the show.
I think that's going to be the Rams. So,
but there's 3 levels of this, though. There's the current with Dobbs. There's the near future with Murray. And there's maybe the distant future with what happens next year. And this Caleb Williams story that came out yesterday has got everybody talking. And it is concerning that this far away from the draft, that's already the stigma that's being put on the Cardinals, who might have the first overall pick. Louis Riddick of ESPN, one of their analysts, former front office executive in the league, says, Cardinals fans should be concerned about that possibility of Caleb Williams avoiding this team.
He's looking at the big picture. He's looking at the long term, and he's looking at, as he just stated, how quarterbacks are affected by poor organizational structure and support on and off the field. And he just doesn't want his son subjected to that, and his son probably doesn't want to be subjected to that. And could you blame him? So I think this is going to be one to monitor as the talk heats up that Arizona is tanking in order to get him. And if you're an Arizona fan and if you're inside the Arizona Cardinals organization, and I'm not saying that's what they're doing or not, but if you were thinking along those lines, then wow, I guess, you got to continue to execute whatever strategy you have for 2023 and let the chips fall where they may as far as what Caleb decides to do. But I think in this situation, because of how NIL has changed the landscape for premium college players, I don't think this is something you can take lightly and something that you should dismiss at all.
It has certainly changed the landscape. I looked at Bryce Young's contract. He's making $6 million just from the signing bonus portion of his contract. By the end of it, he'll be making $25 million in cash a year. Is Caleb Williams making that much? No, but it's not like you're going back and having to rely on a meal plan to eat anymore either. He's a multimillionaire while starting at quarterback for USC. So the landscape has changed. The Cardinals' main goal objective this year is, as much as you're not going to completely wipe away everybody's memories of the last 18 months of what this organization did, and more to the point, didn't do correctly. But you have to wash as much of that away in people's minds leading up to next year's draft. And even if they have the number 1 pick and Caleb Williams says, go ahead and pick me, I'm not playing there, they're still in a great position because they could trade the pick.
Real quick, and I know we got a break. Yes, because I do believe Cliff Kingsbury has told things to Carl Williams, Caleb's father, about this organization. And if the owner continues to be in a slow drip of negative news, how much is going to get better? All of it's in the air.
Yeah.
All of it.
That is very true.